Hello, everyone. Welcome to Stream and Hub Radio. I am Sage Stevens, the host of Shout Out with Sage. And today on the show, we're turning up the volume with an artist who's lighting up the dance pop scene. My guest today has captivated audiences at prestigious venues such as Lincoln Center and the Bitter End in New York City, Canadian Music Week in Toronto, and Los Angeles hotspots, the Hotel Cafe, and the Viper Room. Born in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, which for those of you who don't know, that is in Canada. She is now making waves in Los Angeles. This vocalist and performer whose sound channels the energy of early 2000s sound pop icons such as Usher, Beyonce, Britney Spears, Michael Jackson, but with a modern edge. She signed to Tuneclique Music Publishing under the mentorship of Roy Hamilton III in 2022, and her career is on a sharp rise, and we're thrilled to dive into her journey, her career, and her creative process, and what's next for her on the scene. So oh my God, I can't even say it. I have all these.
You already said it once. It's okay.
Yeah. So from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan to the Sunset Strip, today's guest is redefining pop with a fierce twist. And I want to welcome to the show today, Alexandra Beck. Hey, how are you?
I'm so great. Thank you, Sage, so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. It's such a nice intro. I feel made me feel so good about myself.
Well, of course, that's the whole point of being interviewed, right? You're supposed to it's supposed to make you feel good. I'm not going to go, oh, hey, yeah, I got this person. They're sort of okay. Actually, the reason I do that, I actually learned a very valuable lesson when I went to a comedy show, and actually Jamie Kennedy was performing. And the MC of the show just went, yeah, he was really lackluster. Like, yeah, hey, Jamie Kennedy's coming up next, and Jamie Kennedy got on and he's like, he was a little offended. And then it makes sense because I am on both sides of the camera. So yeah, this is your time, and I'm glad to give it to you, and I'm glad you're here to talk to me. So yeah, I should totally,
Thank you.
Make it special for you, right? So valuable lesson I learned from that comedy show. Okay, so you have a new single. Hit
Woo!
This.
Yeah.
What inspired you to make it?
It was kind of like the first night out after COVID, and hadn't interacted with the opposite sex in literally years. Restrictions had been lifted in my city. And
did you have your legs shaved or no?
Sorry?
Did you have your legs shaved or no?
I think I had my legs shaved. Yeah, I'm pretty on top of that stuff. Yeah.
No, sorry. COVID, we sort of all let ourselves go. So.
Yeah, I probably let myself go until it was like, okay, I'm going out tonight. I better shave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I ran into a guy I'd always kind of had a thing for. And then we finally had our moment. So that's what this song's about. And the music video is out today. So I'm so proud of the work we've put in. It's my first music video.
Congratulations. What did you think of when you were doing the video? What was your creative process? Is it different between a video and the actual song?
Yeah, so I feel like I am a songwriter, and I'd say that that's my strong suit. And I'm a recording artist second. I'm a dancer probably third. So this song, was very inspired from a specific night out, and I wrote the song, and I'm the vocalist on it. And then I went to a producer and we did it in the studio. But next step was we took it to, my dance teacher, who's starting her career as an artistic director and choreographer for music videos and different projects. So she her and Brian Jara, who are filming and directing, they kind of had this amazing vision. They kind of relived my night out. They were asking me a bunch of questions like, what inspired you? They were just asking very specific questions because they really wanted to have a different view of my vision of what the night was. And so, yeah, they kind of created the storyline for it, and they made it, the choreo and the rain coming in the second half of the song, so that we were dancing in the rain all sexy and like meeting my love interest for the first time. I'm out with my girls. Like they really captured how the night kind of played out, except we weren't dancing full out. Laura and I, we weren't dancing in the club in real life. We were, but we weren't like doing choreo.
Yeah,
in
you were.
Rain. So
you took some creative liberty with the video. I got you.
Yeah, I have an amazing team. It was really cool working with a team of people who were really supportive, and my dance teacher and Brian, who films my class, the class I go to every Monday. I really know the people that were a part of my project, so that made it even better, So
how important is having a team around you, and how long did it take you to form that team and trust those people?
That's a great question, because I think before I was always like, oh, I want to work with everybody. And I kind of had a realization probably 2 years ago that it's more important to work with people that you trust on big projects and that because they are equally as excited as you are. This team, I started dancing for fun when I moved to LA about 3 years ago. And that's how long it's taken me to meet these people and get to know them and work with them. I work with them on a weekly basis. So, yeah.
Right. You grew up in Canada, in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere. How's that? Cold, flat. Everyone where I'm from is extremely hardworking and extremely kind. And I'm really proud that was my upbringing. We're morally grounded, giving people, and we work our asses off. Like there's no complaints. Don't complain, just do it. I think is kind of the mentality of where I'm from. It's cold, so there's nothing to do except
for like 6 months out of the year. Yeah, you're freezing to death, right?
Yeah.
How has that background influenced your singing and songwriting?
I think that my music comes from a very kind of hopeful place. Maybe it's a little more genuine than the average pop star. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think that I'm a very positive person because of where I'm from. I'm not jaded because I haven't been here my whole life.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I am really grateful for being in LA.
Yeah.
Worked really hard to get here. I wasn't just handed it on a silver platter. So,
and the time, how long of a time was that from like moving from Canada to LA? Like, did that happen within, you decided to be a singer and you moved within a year? Or how long of a period was that?
I've been in music my whole life, in musicals and choirs and everything that I could be involved in school. And then I probably started writing songs when I was like 19 or 20. And I moved to LA, I think when I was 26. So I really wanted to, I'd been actively working on music for that many years. COVID kind of got in the way of moving here as quickly as I wanted to. But yeah, it had been good because I had been getting better at my craft, becoming a much better singer and vocalist during COVID, writing a lot of songs, getting in the studio a lot. Looking at it, it's kind of a long time span, but in between I was like going to school and things like that.
When you go to write a song, is that, you take from things that have happened to you? What's your creative process for that?
Yeah, so I feel like it's always coming from a very personal space for me. I think that I usually journal a lot. Like most mornings, I'm journaling for 5 minutes every day at least. And that's kind of where I get the ideas of like, what am I thinking about right now? What am I feeling? A lot of it comes from very specific nights. If I'm like had a really, really good night, or if I had a really started dating someone new or went through a really tough breakup. A lot of my songs are about like love interests and people I'm dating and
So they
things
better beware before they date you. Do they have to sign like an
like yeah, I should start doing that. Actually, no, I think they kind of like it. They're like, oh, you wrote something about me.
Yeah, well, we're in LA, so probably an actor or a musician or something. So they're probably, oh yeah, she wrote that song. Oh, like Alanis Morissette, way back when she wrote a song about someone she dated. So yes, so going in the same vein.
Mhm.
You performed at iconic venues like Lincoln Center and the Viper Room. Which performance challenged or changed you the most, and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. Which performance has challenged and changed me the most? I
Yeah,
mean,
was it something you learned from one of them, or a
mhm.
breakthrough or a challenge?
I think one time I performed at the Viper Room, the acoustic lounge. And I think I used to be super nervous to perform in front of people before that. Like I would just shake and like be really scared. Um, but I had a bunch of friends there and they were all encouraging me and kind of screaming. And then I was like, this is just for fun. At the end of I know that I'm trying to make a career out of it, but it's also like we're doing music for fun and people mess up every day. Pop stars mess up on stage, or like I was just watching a video of Beyonce with her daughters on stage, and her daughter like gave her this big hug and she just stopped singing. Like I feel like I learned that it's about having at that performance at the Viper Room. I learned it's about having fun and being spontaneous as a performer. And sometimes you do have to improvise with what's happening. And I think that made me love music more, that gig.
Yeah, to take it seriously and want to be professional, but at the same time, as you said, be spontaneous and sort of go with the flow when someone jumps up on stage or something. So you never know.
Yeah, I'm from like such a type A, like try hard family that I'm like, oh, it didn't go. I used to be like, so like, oh, it didn't go that way. I messed up. Like I did a bad job. But then it's like, music isn't always like that. It's more creative.
Right. I'm the same. I used to always, I had a visualization of what was going to happen, and then it didn't go that way, of course. And then you get all upset with yourself. And that you did a bad job. So I totally understand where you're coming from with that.
Seeing me.
Yes. Your sound channels like early 2000s pop, 2000 pop icons and legends like Britney and Usher, Beyonce. What is it about that era that really speaks to you?
I think for me, the most important thing about music is how catchy the melody is. And that's something that's really cool about the early 2000s and why I draw so much inspiration from it. And that's when I fell in love with music. I was like a little kid during that time period. And I think my music sounds a little bit more like that than some of the current stuff that's out right now. I feel like it's maybe a blend of both. But yeah, I think melody's most important to me. It gets caught in people's ears. Like Danny, Danny felt she was telling me, I can't get your song out of my head. I'm like, perfect. That's the goal. I want people not to be able to forget it because it's so catchy and melodic. And that's,
right.
Yeah.
But
the
you
early
want to
2000s, every
in
song.
your head.
Like I was just listening to an Ashley Simpson song. I haven't listened to Pieces of Me. And I was like, this song is so catchy. To get a song on the radio or to be a pop star 10 years ago, you had to have a song that catchy or else they would be like, what is this? So
Right. Yes, times have definitely changed a bit. Things are different. You mentioned that you also dance and you're working with choreographer Marissa Hart. What has dance added overall to your identity as a performer and an artist?
it's made me a much better performer. I'm so much more confident on stage. Like our classes that I go to on Monday with Marissa, at the end, we have to film the choreo we just learned. We get called up
wow.
to do filming. So if you can do that, I feel like you can do anything. It's made me just like sometimes, like I was said, you have to improv sometimes. It's made me be like, okay, like I got this. Like it's made me so much more confident in the studio talking to people. I generally just have a lot more confidence. I have better facial expressions. I know how to like tap into fierce energy versus sexy energy versus I'm sad and emotional kind of vibes. And I feel like before I danced my whole life, but I'd taken a large break and I was more kind of in ballet and hip hop when I was a kid. That's not really the focus of ballet, like focusing on facial expressions. It's all technical. So yeah, I think this is something that's like the dance scene in LA is really, really good. It's really like the best dancers in the world live here. So it's incredibly inspiring to be a part of it.
Do you find it challenging or competitive? Has there ever been a time where, I was a competitive figure skater, so, I've had a few challenging moments with other skaters. Do you feel that as a singer or performer in LA, like any cattiness or jealousy? And if so, how do you deal with that?
I feel like, I know I'm a good person and at some degree, it is important other people's perception of you. But at my core, I know that I'm a good person. And that's kind of how I deal with situations like that. I usually kind of just like leave it. I'm not a drama person. I'm so not here for it. I'm here to make great art and focus on myself. And if there's people who are supportive and, I love supporting other people. And I feel really inspired by great artists around me. Like one of my friends, Issa, she's the most incredible singer I've ever met in my life. I think she's a better vocalist by far than I am. And I know I'm a great singer, but that doesn't take anything away from what I have to offer. She just can sing like Whitney Houston, and I can write great songs. I think I write really catchy songs and I have a unique look and I'm a great dancer, but I love watching her sing because there's so much to learn from how she does her vibrato, how she belts. And like, I think that we need to be more collaborative, especially when we see other women doing really well. So yeah, it's cool. I feel like my dance community is actually the most supportive community of my music career. Like all my dance girls are up on my Instagram post being like, "This is amazing. I'm so proud of you." And we're all yeah.
Well, that sort of leads me to my next question. As a woman in pop and R&B, have you faced any challenges that you felt uniquely were tied to your gender, like as a female singer?
Yeah, I have. I feel like sometimes producers take a long time to get back to you, or they like, that's a certain thing. I'm like, if I was a dude, would they be sending my stems like a month ago? Or like, would it take this long to get my stems for my project? One time I was in the studio and I had wrote the hook and it was me and two girls in the studio and a bunch of dudes. And, the guy who's leading the camp kind of came in and gave feedback. And after that feedback, I kind of felt like everyone in the room didn't trust me anymore because I was kind of leading the song before. And I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't like it was an ill will on his part, but I just felt like all the men in the room kind of didn't trust me anymore. But I guess I kind of I'm really good at picking up on energies.
Right. Yes.
And then after that, I was kind of like, well, I have to believe in myself and be confident or they'll trust me even less. So I feel like stuff like that happens and it's like hard to say, oh, you're being sexist, but it's kind of like, it's a very small energy thing. And it happens a lot, but you just have to work really hard and, stop complaining about it because it's just the way it is.
Yes. I mean, you just have to keep going, and just know that maybe that's not someone you want to work with again. And speaking of that, how do you decide who to work with and what projects to say yes to?
I think before I used to say yes to a lot of people. because I just wanted opportunities when I first moved here. But now, if it's not a song that I love, I think if it's not making, I'm not excited about it, I don't think it's worth my time. I really think I'm very explorative with genres. Like on Sunday, I'm going to be recording kind of a reggae feeling song I'm really excited about. Like if Bob Marley and Ariana had a baby, it's kind of like that vibe. Really, really excited. But yeah, I'm exploring a lot of different genres right now. I had just had my first EDM song mastered, and we're really excited about that.
I love EDM, so
Yay, I'm excited. Well, maybe we could like talk about it later, that song. I feel like, yeah, if I love the song and I feel like I was a big part of it, that's kind of how I choose, I guess, if that answers your question.
You are working with Roy Hamilton III, and he's been a mentor to you. What's the most important piece of advice he's given to you?
I think the most important piece of advice, wow. I think one time I was getting feedback from an A&R person at a label, and I think she said something along the lines of like, you need to pick a lane for your sound. And he's like, no, I think it's cool that you have diversity in your sound. He's like, I don't believe in that. Like, trust your gut.
Right.
He's like, I think it's really good that you can write songs in like lots of different genres. And I think from him, I just learned how to navigate the industry a little better. And I think that was the best piece of advice, kind of to trust myself.
Right. You know? Is there another piece of sage advice someone's given to you throughout, your time so far on the planet that really resonated with you?
Yeah, Marissa, my dance teacher, I think in an interview, and in her classes every day, she's just a really hopeful, inspiring person. She always says not to compare yourself to other people as an artist, and that's one of the biggest reasons she's found so much success, is because she's so focused on her own journey and she only competes with herself. So for me, I feel like I've become a lot happier when I've kind of tapped into that energy more. It's not about if that person is more famous than me and they're younger than me, or they have this and that. It's like, what makes me me? And I'm not comparing myself to other people. That piece of advice. And my grandma also gave me the best piece of advice ever. And my grandma Irene, that when you're feeling overwhelmed, focus on one thing at a time. Don't try to do like 6 things at once. What's the most important right now? Do that. Once you're finished, go on to the next one. So whenever I'm feeling stressed, I really, really take Grandma Irene's advice on that.
I agree with Grandma Irene, definitely. It's good advice, yes. If you could say something to young women that are watching who want to pursue music but feel like overlooked or underestimated, what would you tell them?
Keep working hard, working really hard, and trust yourself. And, no one can tell you who you are. You are who you are. Be confident. And sometimes it's hard to draw from that when you're having a bad day, but bad days don't last. Right. And we're always evolving and getting better. So like I said, if it's your day one of your music journey, don't compare yourself to me, because I've been at this for years and I'm not even where I want to be at all yet. Just keep feeling inspired from people who are successful, I guess, around you. Like I wanted to start writing my own songs when I saw this girl in my vocal jazz group in Vancouver, and she was writing her own song. She sounded like kind of like J-Lo, if J-Lo and Mariah were combined. And she's writing her own songs. They're really great R&B songs. I'm like, she's so cool. I want to be her, but with my own thing.
Right. So you take that and develop it into your own.
Yeah. She's like, 7 or so years older than me. So it was kind of like an older, like, mentor to kind of look up to. And she really inspired me. Yeah. I hope I inspire people too.
Sorry, say that again.
I hope I inspire people too.
Of course. Today, I have to give a shout out of my own to some sponsors, and we're going to say thank you to 3Coin for these wonderful hats. They're very stylish. They even have things like sparkly things under
Oh, I like the spark.
visor. Yes, they're very cool. Also, we have hoodies. You can get it all online at 3Coin, and also to Meta H2O Water. And I want to say thank you so much for being a sponsor today for Shout Out with Sage.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you signed to sorry, did I say this right? Tuneclique?
Yeah.
Okay, so you signed to Tuneclique Publishing, Music Publishing. How did that come about for you?
Yeah, so I met Roy probably like, I don't know, like, was it before COVID? A couple years before COVID. And I'd been going out to Toronto and working in the studio a bit with him because I lived in Vancouver at the time. So I've known him for a long time. And then I really wanted to move to the US, so he helped me get my visa. And that's kind of how that came about. I've been, just working. It's been a kind of a long relationship. And
right.
Yeah, that's how that worked out.
How important is networking and relationships to having a career?
I think it's really important, but I also think that you shouldn't be so focused on meeting everyone. That's what I've come to learn. I think when I first came out here, it was all about like, oh, I want you to meet everybody and everyone needs to know who I am. But I really don't like that. I feel like I'm also like so much of a homebody that people who don't add value to my life kind of bother me, to be quite honest.
I can understand, especially in LA. I can understand that.
There's only so much time in the day and we're so busy. And I mean, it has to be you have to feel like, oh, feels good. So now networking, I think if it comes about that something feels really authentic when I meet someone and we have like equal amounts to give to each other, that's important. But yeah, I think before I was trying to write with a bunch of, girls and different people. And now that I've found my writing community, I'm more focused on finding like great producers, which I've worked with a bunch of great producers, but I used to be trying to find producers and artists to work with. And I'm like, but I am the artist. I'm a really good writer. So I should be more focused on connecting with producers. And Danny Felt has been an incredible person to work with. She's so connected and she does like most of the networking for me, which is really nice.
and thank you, Danny. That's how we're both here today. So
yeah. Yeah.
So
I think
speaking of giving, sorry, say that again.
I think it's important, but sometimes I'm like, I become a little bit of a homebody and I write music instead.
Right. Speaking of shout outs, and we are on Shout Out with Sage, is there anyone else that's been really pivotal in your career that you'd love to give a shout out to?
My grandma Diane, she is passed on, my heavenly grandmother, but she was the most supportive family member of my music career, and I really appreciate everything she's done for me. And she kind of instilled, bravery in me, and she helped fund my music video.
Well, that's very important.
Even though she didn't help, she did. She helped. She did. So I really, yeah. But we knew that she would this is something she would want because she was so supportive of what I was doing. So, yeah.
You mentioned that you have a EDM song coming out. So let's hear about that.
I'm excited. I went to London last year for a writing camp. And I became good friends with an artist or with a producer. Her name is Ms. Kelly. And she came up with this you kind of give a UK garage sound, which is kind of the early 2000s EDM in the UK. That's what so she was really excited. And then we got another, our mix engineer. He also did some co-production on the track. So it kind of is giving techno, garage UK with some sped up vocal. My voice is sped up. It's got some effects on it. So yeah, the song's super catchy and we're really excited to release it. Yeah.
And when's that one coming out?
Probably in a couple months. I'm not sure yet.
Okay. Yeah. You'll let us know.
Soon. I will let you guys know.
Exactly. Cool. Well, how do we find you on social media?
I'm Alexandra Beck, music. So on Spotify, YouTube, it's Alexandra Beck. And go and check out YouTube today because the music video is out. I'm so excited. It's my first ever music video. Lots of choreo, dancing in the rain. On Instagram, I'm the most active. It's Alexandra Maria Beck, ECK. So yeah, go and give me a follow. I appreciate the love. And yeah, go and stream.
Is there any performances coming up for you or anything like that?
Right now, I performed a ton the first year I got here. So right now, I'm just actually in the studio a ton. I feel like sometimes I need to be more focused on, I've been more focused on getting songs done in the studio, and it feels good. Yeah. So no shows planned right now.
Sorry, say that again.
No shows on the horizons right now. I'm just been banging out a acoustic album. So.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Alexandra, for joining us today. And I want to thank you for your voice, your fire, your honesty, and can't wait to see what else you have on the horizon. So keep me informed, or keep us informed. Yes.
Thank you, Sage. I really appreciate you having me, and your words mean a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And thanks everyone for joining us today and listening in. And we will see you next Wednesday for another show. Bye, everyone.
Bye.